Hello everyone, it's your favorite talking eggplant here, and today we're playing another episode of Blackberry Honey. This should be the 5th one, I believe. I think the last thing we were doing was witnessing Constance crash out over biscuits because they're French. Are you quite sure about that? Yes! It was a ghostly figure indeed. Upon seeing it in the moonlight, I felt as though my heart might burst right out of my chest. Kaput. Was that the sound effect hearts usually made when they burst? Lorena was curious. Not so very curious, however, that she could muster more than a muted in response. Lottie pouted. Ah, but Lorena, you sound as though you do not believe me. Well, why not? Lottie stared at Lorena, her eyes wide with passion. Personally, Lorena felt it was too early in the morning for such an unchecked display of energy, but she decided to keep that to herself. Lottie certainly seemed impassioned, but then again, Lottie was impassioned about everything. I'm a little skeptical about the existence of ghosts. But you're English. And you come from the land of unicorns, dragons, leprechauns. I think you'll find those are Irish. It is the same thing. It isn't, though. Never mind, never mind. Lottie waved one hand carelessly. Lorena would have found the gesture irritating were it not coming from such a blonde-haired, blue-eyed maiden. What's that supposed to mean? Perhaps Lottie didn't understand. Lorena tried to reason. She was Swiss, after all. What's that supposed to mean? Maybe that's why she had been giggling so with Effie the other day. She just didn't know what was appropriate and what was not. I think it's a little more than that. One would have thought Effie, being English-born, wouldn't engage her so, though. How can you of all people doubt my story? I promise you I am not lying. I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. I don't think you're lying, but you should see for yourself when you walk around the hallways at night. Maybe your heart will stop in your chest too. I hope not. Lorena frowned and glanced at a nearby clock. She and Lottie had been charged with airing the carpets and polishing the ornaments in the hallway that morning. An hour or so had passed, and now it was nearing 7:30 a.m.? If we don't want to be late, we should be on our way to church. Ah, yes! I was so caught with my chilling tale I quite forgot. Lorena smiled, shaking her head. Honestly, what would Lottie do without her? Well, knowing Lottie, she'd be fine. That girl's alright. Though Lottie was something of a daydreamer who often lost focus midway through her chores, she was rather popular amongst the residents of Bly. Even Miss Smith was fond of her, and Miss Smith seemed to be fond of nothing other than Estelle Wood's Practical Housekeeping Guide. Oh my gosh, this again? It was true what they said. If you had looks, you could coast by without any particular talent. It didn't hurt that Lottie was always so enthusiastic and earnest, but unfailingly thoughtful too. She was the kind of girl who, if she saw a spider, would catch it in her hands and release it outside, because that's the right thing to do. The thought of killing the poor thing would never have crossed her mind. Spiders are friends unless they're in my bed. Then it's like, you have 3 seconds. Right, we should be on our way. Agreed, Captain. Captain? Lorena frowned. She wasn't sure how exactly she'd been made this sudden career change from maid to captain, but she supposed it didn't matter all that much. Lorena and Lottie exited Bly through the kitchen. They wended their way through the rose gardens when they were halted quite suddenly by an unexpected interloper. Pauline. Lorena knew she would see Pauline at church, but she'd hoped to delay their inevitable meeting. For whatever reason, Pauline looked rather smug. Pauline always looked smug. Oh, Lorena, are you on your way to church? Yes. Lorena's body drew back instinctively, as one would retract their hand from a naked flame. Shouldn't you be on your way to church too? In a moment, dear. First, I have something I want to relay to you. What? Is it about the ghost? No, it's a more pressing, immediate concern. Earlier this morning, Miss Smith asked me to polish the fireplace in the drawing room, but silly me, I quite forgot. How did you forget? I had matters to attend to in the gardens. They were quite important. Lorena noted, Pauline didn't specify what these matters were. She's always off doing something more important, isn't she? If Lorena was a gambling kind of girl, she would wager that these important matters in the gardens involved exchanging idle gossip about the stable hands with Isobel. Miss Smith, not to mention Lady Leonard, will be most aggrieved if they return from church to discover the fireplace has not been seen to. Then perhaps you should finish the task you were assigned. Oh, Pags. Oh, I know I should, but I don't want to miss service. Neither do I. That's what you say, Lorena. But I doubt missing a service or two will have such an impact on your future. And what do you mean by that? I mean, Pauline's smirk widened. It's doubtful a fallen woman such as yourself could ever go to heaven. No matter how much you try to repent, you may as well give up. I beg your pardon? You heard what I said. My innocence is assured. I've lived a good life so far, and it'd be a shame if I went and got a black mark on my record now. What, 'cause you forgot to do something? I doubt she forgot. I think she just didn't want to do it. So you want me to take the fall for you? If you would be so kind. Thank you very much. Now, Lottie, are you coming? But, you had a job to do, you should do it. It is not Lorena's responsibility, surely. But Lorena offered to help me. It did not seem that way to me. Well, if you want to stay here and clean the fireplace with her, be my guest. But you'd miss out on Reverend Marner's service, too. You do want to go to heaven and meet Saint Verena, don't you, Lottie? Well, when you put it like that... Excellent, then let's be on our way. And on their way they went. As she walked off, Lottie turned her head and mouthed a few parting words to the dumbstruck Lorena. I'm sorry. Bruh. Stupid Pauline. Where does she get off, that no-mannered, buck-toothed, horse-faced, conniving bitch? To further emphasize her point, Lorena kicked the wall with the tip of her shoe. Ow! As Lorena soon discovered, this was a rather poor idea for a couple of reasons. For one thing, kicking the wall hurt. For another, the pale yellow wallpaper now had a very unappealing blemish streaked across it. Blinking the tears away from her eyes, Lorena peered at the damage she had caused. It didn't look good. Now how was she going to explain this to Miss Smith? She'd let the temper get the better of her again, just as it had done at Hartwell. Just as it had done with Arthur Pickering. Now, months later, she was still paying the price. Oh, go bugger an orphan? Bugger? In Lorena's state, she wouldn't have cared if the subject of said buggery was a whole orphanage. I'm not quite sure what that means. This is ridiculous. If you were here, Pauline, I'd smash every one of your teeth in. And because it couldn't possibly get any worse than it was already, Lorena spat on the floor. How ill-mannered. It wasn't like it mattered. Nobody would see her here. Here? Here. Every single occupant of Bly, from Lady Leonard all the way down to the stable boy, would be at church. Every single occupant save her and... Talwa? Oh my! I didn't realize you had such a foul tongue on you, my little Lori. Who could have seen this coming? Not me. Lorena jumped as though she had been prodded with a pin. Her eyes snapped open until they were even wider than the wooden globe Miss Aime used to teach Lady Constance geography on. She was so surprised by the parlor maid's presence, she quite forgot what she'd said to her during their last meeting. I won't talk to you if you don't talk to me. Lorena still didn't like the older maid. She refused to like her through sheer stubbornness. But in that moment, curiosity outweighed everything else. Tawa, why are you here? Silly Lori, I thought you knew. I don't go to church. Yeah, I've wondered about that. Doesn't Lady Leonard mind? She might, but what Lady Leonard thinks is no concern to me. It should concern you. She's your employer. And even if you don't care about her, aren't you worried about going to hell? A truly novel idea. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. You'd cross a bridge over fire and brimstone? You're more brazen than I thought. Oh, I don't know. You can be quite brazen too, my little Lori. My little pony. What do you mean? Well, I wonder. What words just emitted from your lovely maidenly lips? Go sodomize an orphan, was it? Is that what that means? It was go bugger an orphan, actually. How charming. Tawa giggled. She crossed the room with light footsteps, moving so soundlessly she could have been a ballerina. Maybe she was. I didn't realize you had such a tongue on you. You can curse like a sailor. My father was a sailor, actually. A sailor and a poet? I mean, scholar? But that was beside the point. Will you promise to keep this a secret? Who, me? Tawa gestured toward herself in disbelief. But I thought you didn't trust me, Lori. Why the sudden change of heart? It's a test. A test? If you can keep this to yourself, then maybe I can tolerate you. Only tolerate? Don't push your luck. You drive a hard bargain, but... Oh, very well. I'll take it to the grave. Do you swear? Tawa nodded solemnly, one hand on her chest. On my mother's life. A smile found its way to Lorena's lips despite herself. She didn't know why, but talking to the parlor maid, peculiar though she was, had helped lighten her spirits. Even if Tawa was a godless devil, okay? I'm rather curious though, Lori. While I have no problem with being a heathen, I thought you nice, well-raised English girls cared a great deal about your faith. I do. My mother would faint if she knew I was missing Sunday service. Then why are you here, wishing for the brutalization of poor, innocent orphans and Paulines alike? The orphans might be innocent. Lorena conceded. Though it really depended on which orphans you were speaking of. But Pauline is not. I can believe that. I've never been fond of that woman. And what has Pauline done this time? I take it she's the culprit behind your current state of despair? Cendrillon? Well, she was supposed to polish this fireplace, but important business. Lorena made quotation marks with her fingers. Came up and she was unable to finish her chores in time for church. So she tried to push her duties onto you? That's how it went, yes. Oh my, that's truly despicable. Pauline's like that. Did you try to argue your case? Did you see how angry Taohua looked? Like, I've never seen her make that face before. I didn't have much time. She left before I could say anything, and I... Lorraine aside, her shoulders slumped. I couldn't just go. I would have if I were you. But I'm not you. No, you're not. And that's why people continue to take advantage of you. Honestly, Lori, have you learned nothing after the little talk I gave you? Well, I'm very sorry. I've been a little under the weather lately with all this nonsense about the ghost. There's a ghost? Ask Ada or Lottie. I'm not interested. Ah, I think Lottie did mention something like that to me earlier. She sounded quite excited. She's always excited. Personally, I find it rather charming. Though wide-eyed, innocent little girls like that can be a touch grating. Whenever I see her, I ponder how lovely she would look in tears. Lorena shuddered. Yeah, what? That's too much information. TMI, bro. Oh, jealous are we? Not at all. Why would she be jealous? And why are you blushing? If it's any consolation, Lori, I think you'd look even better in tears. What kind of consolation is that? Lorena glowered, her hands clenched into fists. But what could she realistically do? Hit Taohua? She'd already scuffed the wallpaper in the parlor, so she might as well. After wanton property damage, grievous bodily harm was just a stone throws away. Look, I don't know why you're here, but if you want to gloat over my misfortune, you can forget it. I'm not in the mood. Oh dear. I fear I've given you the wrong impression. I don't want to gloat, Lori. No? Blushing again. No, in fact, upon hearing your impassioned cries, I found myself wanting to help. If you can believe such a thing of a wicked woman like me. How can you help, exactly? I know going to church is important for you, but it isn't for me. As I have nothing to lose, I might as well polish the fireplace in your stead. Then you don't mean... If you leave now, you may be able to make it to St. Mary's on time. You'll need to hurry though, I believe the service starts in... Taohua glanced at the glit clock hanging on the wall. 20 minutes? But that isn't right. You didn't do anything wrong. And neither did you. But you shouldn't need to clean up after Pauline's messes. I don't mind, it's no skin off my nose. But... that's 3 butts, my little Lori, and I'm still not budging. You should go. Attend your sermon. Your fairy godmother is always here to help. Taohua winked, but shortly thereafter she frowned, pressing one finger against her lower lip. Now, was that too dramatic? I was going for dashing, but perhaps I laid it on a bit too thick. Lorena had no idea what Taohua was babbling about, but despite her better judgment, she did feel thankful. Well, if you're so sure... Of course I'm sure. I don't offer my services if I'm not sure. But... Taohua's eyes flashed. I'm not a cheap woman. I assume so. I can aid you whenever you wish, but the interest can be rather steep. When I come to collect my insurance, I'll let you know. Dude, is she literally making a move on me right now? So I'm to sell my soul to the devil so I can go to church? How cruel! I'm hardly the devil, my little Lori. But if you must compare me to a manifestation of evil, then... I'd far prefer to be called a succubus. Okay. tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body. Lorena sat at the edge of the bench, crammed against Ada's soft side in the cold, hard wood of the ancient pew. Fortunately, Lorena hadn't been late for the beginning of the service. She'd arrived in the nick of time with less than half a minute to spare. Reverend Marner had given Lorena a long, disapproving look as she scuttled to her rightful place, but the infuriated expression on Pauline's horsey face had made it all worthwhile. Can you stop calling her like a horse? That harpy needed to be knocked down a few pegs. That's a better word. Reverend Marner's words had never felt more apt. The human tongue, if used with malicious intent, really could scorch more than any naked flame. The tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Lorena glanced about the congregation curiously. As per usual, Lady Constance and Lady Leonard were sitting at the front. Lady Leonard's head was held high, like a bird of praise. Lady Constance, meanwhile, was fidgeting, winding her blonde hair about a finger over and over and over again. Why was she in such a foul state of distemper? Maybe because she's 12 years old? Lorena wasn't sure, but she felt it would be prudent to keep an eye on her. She didn't want to be drawn into any of Lady Constance's childish schemes. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith with curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Worrying though it was, the only one Lorena felt she could rely on as of late was Taohua. This didn't mean, of course, that she and Taohua were friends. They were nowhere near. Though Taohua had helped her earlier, Lorena doubted it was because the older maid liked her. She'd simply done it because it amused her. Maybe it's a mixture of both? Taohua might have been a reliable ally, but that was purely on her own terms. I bet you're gonna be real surprised when she comes to collect her dues, Lori. Lori didn't dislike her as she once had, but she couldn't imagine forming any kind of meaningful relationship with the older woman. Relationships were awkward things, and when they started to grow, they often caused trouble. Trouble like what had happened with the Pickering family. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. But Lorena wasn't going to think about that. She didn't want to think about that. It hurt too much. Let Taohua help with that, But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. Lorena straightened her back and tried to heed Reverend Marner's words, despite the confusion that waged war within her heart. This was no time to be thinking about Lady Constance. This was no time to be thinking about Taohua, and this was certainly no time to be thinking about the Pickerings. Cutscene 1. She was here to think about the Lord. Nothing else mattered. Well, that was quite an intense service. As it should be. The word of the Lord is divine. Lottie smiled brightly. Her face was completely devoid of guile. I'm so happy you were able to attend, Lorena. Me too. I was worried you wouldn't be able to make it. Now that does raise an interesting question. How did you manage to make it here so very quickly, Lorena? I don't know. Maybe it was a miracle. Are you sure you polished the fireplace properly, Lorena? I did my best. Your best, is it? Your best? Like you did your best to try and seduce the Hartwell's son during your previous place of employ. But Pauline was unable to complete her sentence. At that moment, a rather haughty voice cut across her. Sorry, but can you chatter amongst yourselves elsewhere? You're in my way. But the voice didn't sound very sorry at all. It belonged to a young girl with honey blonde hair similar to Lady Constance's. Her skin was pale, her cheeks were soft pink, and she wore one of the most luxurious dresses Lorena had ever seen. It was clear by a single look that her dress must have cost more than a pretty penny. This girl was no mere pauper. She came from a wealthy family. Not as wealthy as the Leonards, of course, but wealthy enough. Wealthy enough to afford airs and graces. Doubtless, that was why Pauline's face burnt bright red. Cowed, she stepped backwards, dropping into a low curtsy before her social better. I apologize. Do forgive me. I suppose I can spare you this once. The girl narrowed her eyes. She glanced at the row of assembled maids with disinterest before pausing. Her eyes met Lorena's. You. Yes? I know you. Excuse me? I recognize your face. Plain though as it is, I wonder. Now that the girl said it, Lorena discovered that she did know her, though know might have been too familiar a word. She had bumped into her before a few weeks ago, and her sister too. She was surprised the girl had bothered to remember her face. She was, after all, only a maid. Pauline too seemed confused by this turn of events because she said, I beg your pardon, ma'am, but you must be mistaken. You couldn't possibly know our Lorena. That's right. She's nothing more than a maid. A drudge, really. You have no reason to converse with her? Oh. The blonde girl drew herself up to her full height, which, admittedly, was not very high, and surveyed Pauline and Isabel with narrowed eyes. Y'all about to get cooked. Are you trying to tell me who I can and cannot converse with? You? Her lip curled. Ooh. As if you could possibly have any sway over me and my decisions. Oh, of course not. We didn't mean to offend. But you did. The damage is done. Maybe I'll tell Lady Leonard about this. Oh no, we didn't mean to insult you. Then get out of my sight. Certainly. Lorena, let's go. What? Talk to me like you know me? Leave the girl. I want to speak to her. Are you sure? Quite sure. Do I need to repeat myself, or have you taken leave of your senses? The girl tutted. Goodness. It must be hard to employ decent maids nowadays. If not even Bly can manage it. I feel sorry for Lady Leonard. I feel sorrier for us. We apologize if we were in your way. Yes, we're going now. I'm awfully sorry. And the group of maids departed, leaving Lorena behind. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave that episode here. Some pretty interesting dialogue in this one. I'm really curious about what Tao Hua was talking about, though I'm sure some of you could probably guess what she means by that. Eventually, we will. Thank you so much for watching this video, or even clicking on it. And, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!